Good morning, Algoverse. Welcome to the second Algorand Assembly of 2024. I am your host this morning. My name is Autumn Peñalosa. I'm head of Global Community for the Algorand Foundation. We have quite a packed agenda for you all today. Everyone is very excited to be here and to share the latest in our ecosystem. We are going to jump in quickly since I know that we were a few minutes late. So thank you all for bearing with us. But yeah, exciting updates today. We have some new pieces that we've added to the agenda, including ecosystem by the numbers, and a great project spotlight by Messina, by Kevin from Messina. And then we have a surprise community created NFT to share with you all at the very end. So please stay tuned. So let's jump right in with our ecosystem update from Min Wei.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I'm having some camera and technical issues. It's really nice to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. I am here to share with you some celebrations that we want to do together for the ecosystem. Actually, before I do that, I will say, Autumn's been kind enough to always invite me to do these ecosystem updates with you guys. But now that we have our own official ecosystem correspondent, Mr. Fred Estante, I do think it may be time for us to bring Fred into these things in the future. So don't be surprised if Fred is the one doing these from now on. All right, let's go right into it. So for those of you who have listened to Fred's updates, you know that there's so much going on in the ecosystem and there's no way for me to cover it all. So I just wanted to pick out a few that's really fun and exciting, a good range for us to celebrate together. So first off, I want to give a big shout out to Vesta Equity and C3 for getting integrated into DeFi Llama. I think as an ecosystem, anytime our projects gets added by other platforms, I think it's a great validation and a fantastic awareness for us. So it's really exciting to see that happen. Realms launched at the end of May, I believe. And for those of you who are not familiar, Realms is a cross-chain metaverse platform, and you can buy spaces in there. I think it caused quite a bit of buzz and frenzy, so it's really exciting to see them have such a big launch. And I believe Leaks even built a tool for you to search to check which NFT is linked to your space. I find that kind of addictive, so go check it out. I think you'll really enjoy it. And then moving over to the games. So Fractal Monsters has been crushing it, as you all know. And our favorite monster taming game is going to be coming to Steam. And so, that is a pretty significant game-changing update. And so please go and add them to your wish list. And we, as many of you know as well, we have completed a beta of our Algorand Blockchain Academy with our partners at UNDP. Doro is going to give a little bit of an update on this in a little bit, so I will not go into too much detail, other than to say that it was an amazing opportunity for us to talk about the power of blockchain, the power of Algorand to the folks at UNDP. And for those of you who are traveling in the summer, and hopefully you're coming to Decipher, and you haven't yet booked your flight, you can now pay with USDC or USDT on Algorand or Algos using Travala. So that's kind of a fun use case, a real world use case for Algos. And over in India, we launched our first set of training courses on NASCOM, which is one of the biggest training platforms for professional developers in India. So very excited for that to be live. And if you haven't seen, you should definitely go check out Asalytics' new stats page. For those of you who've been missing the data from Algo Explore, and NFT Explorer, in fact, you will definitely love seeing this new Asalytics page. Last but not least, we have had quite a few nice wins on the integration and access side of things, right? Algo got listed on M2 and token.com. We were integrated into NFT Inspect as well as Dex Screener. You know, some of this is the fantastic work that the partnerships team led, but some of this is completely activated and thanks to the community, all of you, for the advocacy that you guys have done. So I just want to say thank you, and please keep up the good work there. All right, okay, before I hand off to Doro to share a little bit about UNDP, I did just want to have a quick call to action for all of you. Remember to vote. Remember to vote on your favorite design from the call for creators. As you know, 35 artists submitted artwork. 10 of these artwork will come to Decipher. So please choose your favorite. Voting ends June 15th at 12 o'clock Eastern. Also, please remember to vote for Governance Period 11. There are 16 measures, DeFi rewards, NFT rewards, targeted DeFis, and much more. So please remember to vote. All right, let me hand over to the fabulous Doro to take us through some UNDP updates.
Thanks, Min. Thank you. So as Min already alluded to, we just concluded our beta run for the Algorand Blockchain Academy that we put together for the UN. So what do I mean by beta? Is we put together a curriculum, and it's not just me, it's a whole lot of people on the Algorand Foundation team and ecosystem projects who got together, created curriculum that was easy to understand for beginners and relevant for people in the impact space and who do development work. So we started this partnership with UNDP last fall, and we announced it at the Impact Summit, as you may remember. But we actually got a lot of interest across the United Nations for this program. So I'm happy to report that we had a total of 6 UN organizations participate in the training. We produced over 18 hours of content, and we delivered that in 12 weeks. And you have to also remember that we created this content as we were delivering it. So spring was quite busy. And we had a total of 25 speakers. So internally from our team, like Fred, Min, Anil were speaking, Christine, Joanna. And then we also had lots of people from the ecosystem. So you can see a list of the companies that participated. So they didn't only deliver recorded lectures, but we also did live workshops where the UN employees could just ask them questions. I did little interviews with them, and they really, the UNDP staff people really loved that interaction with the ecosystem projects, because they could see how somebody actually built a solution and where their motivation came from and how it works. And they were very open to answering questions. And I'm very happy to report that also a lot of the UN colleagues who participated are now building their own solutions on the ground, from ReFi in Malawi to other projects in Montenegro, and for example, also about payments application distressed regions such as Syria and Lebanon and so on. So it's been really a very good success, and we are now revamping the content, and we will launch the first real iteration, so we're not running a full beta process later this year, and likely we'll offer it UN-wide. So we'll have tens of thousands of employees globally who will be able to participate in the training and interact with the Algorand ecosystem. All right, now over to Mark for his CMO update. Thank you.
Thanks, Doro, and hi, Algo fam. So excited to be here. As you probably know, it's only been 2 months since I started, and I can tell you it has been a busy 2 months. But first of all, wanted to thank everyone in the community for giving me such a warm welcome. It's been amazing to engage with the community, hear their thoughts, interact with them, understand what's going on, see how we can help. So it's been really great to kind of engage with everyone. So a few updates here. As you know, a big priority for me coming in was really helping to push the message about Python and the availability of Python on Algorand out to the world. And so it's been fun to see with bootcamps and hackathons, been fun to see how many Python developers have actually heard the message and have been engaging with us and learning about Algorand and everything that they can do on a blockchain. And so we've had, I believe, in the first boot camps, we've had over 1,000 new Python developers that we've never had any interactions with before join us and to learn about Algorand. So I think that's great. That's a great initial start. And as I mentioned on the podcast as well, a lot of the focus of mine in the first couple of months has really been on fixing the fundamentals and getting ready for like a bigger push in the second half of the year. So we've been working very hard on the website, new website. We've been working on new messaging, making it crisper. Been focusing on the brand, see if we can refresh the brand. And as you've seen, we've also been focusing on fixing the data, for which we asked for your help, and we've gotten a lot of feedback already. So thank you for that. And so other than that, there's not much to report on this, other to say that we are pretty much ready to go for Decipher. And so I hope to give a lot more details about this and where we're going at Decipher. So I hope everyone on this call is actually going to be there. And I hope to meet as many people as possible from the community in Barcelona. Oh, and there's one more thing that happened. This happened. And this ad obviously was not planned. As you know, it started with Governor Hat pinging me and saying, Mark, this is a script that you should take serious. And we looked at it and said, well, this is actually a pretty cool script. We should just go and do this. And so, as you know, we spent a few days in New York. We had a couple of folks from the community, Barb and Rich, join us. And we launched this thing, and it just went crazy. It went crazy. We had over 11 million paid impressions and over 3 million total impressions. Sorry, not paid impressions. This is a typo. And over 3 million video views of the ad over the course of a couple of days. And what's interesting to me about this too is that for us, it was also a way for us to test kind of our messaging and see what messaging would resonate well. And so, as you know, we've like heavily focused on the idea of real world scale. And so we clearly hit the nerve with the idea that we are the only ones that are operating at real world scale. And so that gives us a lot of confidence that the messaging that we're going to work on and come up with is going to be on target. And so it just went ballistic. It went everywhere. We had like press articles. We had crypto Twitter on fire for a while. So we really hit the nerve there. And so the only thing I can tell you is that we are not going to stop. I think we hit on something that is really good. And so we're going to do a few more of these. And so I would say stay tuned to hear more about what the next one is going to be like. So that's it for me. So let's move over to my favorite topic, Decipher, with Christine.
Hi, everyone. Really glad to be here. Thank you, Mark. I'm Christine Mohan. I work across the community and ecosystem success teams, and I'm going to take you through the very exciting Decipher. So it's been a while since Decipher 2022, almost 2 years, and we're 2 weeks out, really excited, working hard to bring you the greatest program ever. Decipher has always been about the builders, and this year we even took that a bit further. And we are centering and concentrating all of the content and programming to meet builders where they are, whether that's testnet, mainnet, building, scaling. We're going to have workshops that are technical. We're going to have a mini MBA track that takes people through business fundamentals. We're going to have an impact track. We'll have speakers from our India startups groups. And really, it'll be a nice showcase of everything that's going on across Algorand Foundation and the ecosystem. We're expecting his very top line view of the programming. So we are really wanting to mix it up as well in terms of variety of content. We didn't want to be in one room for 2 days, panel after panel. So you'll see a mix. And the good news is quite a few of these will be live streamed, so you can tune in live, and then all the sessions will be recorded. So after Decipher in the days and weeks, you can tune in and catch up on all the different sessions. So we've got main stage panels. If you go to the Decipher website and click on the day 1, day 2, you will see a hour by hour agenda so you can get a taste of what's to come. We've got an OG panel, so you'll hear all the ups and the downs from the folks who have been around the ecosystem for the longest. We've got panels on identity and impact and real world asset tokenization, compliance. We've got 10 workshops hosted by our DevRel team. And you'll hear a bit more about that on our newest head of DevRel, Brian, later today. We've got about 6 or 7 mini MBA workshops lined up and 2 lunch and learns. So it's going to be jam-packed. Fred, the illustrious Fred, is also running a ecosystem showcase. So both afternoons we'll have speed round demos and product roadmap updates from 20 projects from around the world. And then we have dedicated rooms. So you'll have a chance to go by the governance room, ask questions about the latest proposal. We'll have our T-Hab. We got about 6 or 7 teams coming in from India for working sessions and introductions. So make sure you stop by. And in preparation for everyone who's attending or wants to tune in and learn a little bit more, this Thursday, we're going to have a What You Need to Succeed at Decipher webinar. So it'll be myself and JT and Fred, and we'll talk about, there'll be an investor day, the first day. So there's an opportunity for the teams to join a cocktail hour. And to prepare for that and to prepare for the fact that investors and potential partners and potential ecosystem teams will be there throughout the 3 days. We really want people to be prepared. You want to get your elevator pitch ready. You want to get your pitch deck ready. You want to be ready for the stand-up interview opportunities that'll be there from the marketing and social media teams. We'll have some community influencers there. And so it will really be a time to prepare and get ready for amplifying your own message and using Decipher and all the momentum around it and all the social media to make it a really great experience. And as I said, there's something for everyone. So we've got lunch and learns, we've got impact, decentralized identity, and disaster relief. We've got great sessions from, for instance, JT hosting a growth hacking your community panel workshop. And then we'll have Bruno taking us through what's new and what's coming from the team, including HD wallets, liquid auth, and identity. So check it out. It's all there on the Decipher website. And you can also, if you're attending, make sure you download the app. It's super easy to click on the ones you want to save, register for the sessions. And this is the top level of the range of people you will see and meet on those days. So we've got about 32% of those 510 attendees we've got so far are registrants. So we've got obviously heavy up on the projects and the developers. We've got general attendees coming from Web and Web 2 and Web 3. And we've got also, we've reached out to Barcelona groups in crypto and blockchain. So you'll see a nice range of folks within the ecosystem and outside the ecosystem because we really want them to learn about Algorand. And then you'll see, of course, investors, VCs, and community members. So how can you get involved between now and then? You can, if you're attending, please set up your Twitter graphic and download the app and save your sched. You can support anyone across the ecosystem. Please support us by retweeting and helping us build the buzz and posting on your LinkedIn, your Discord, whatever you prefer. And then for folks, as I said, live streamed will be all of the keynotes and Bruno's What's Cooking, and the panels will be live streamed. And also this Global Hackathon Grand Finale, which will be live streamed, and that'll be very exciting to see who wins. And we've got, next up, I want to introduce my colleague Summer, who's going to give an APAC update. Thank you. And please, any questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter or shoot them into the chat and I'll answer from there. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Christine. Looking forward to Decipher. So hi everyone, my name is Summer. I'm the head of Ecosystem Success APAC, and I'm glad to take this opportunity to give a quick update of APAC strategic focus and the events in the pipeline. So for the past year, we put our community growth efforts across different countries in the region with nearly 100 online and offline events being held. We've adjusted a mix of audiences and seeing steadily growth across the region channels. And this year, in aligning with the overall foundation strategy for developer onboarding, our APAC strategy focus have 2 major pillars: developer acquisition and startup ecosystem building. So in terms of developer engagement, we aim to be laser focused and allocate our resource into one top country for success. And Vietnam stands out for its young, tech-savvy population, large number of crypto users, and increasing investment in startups and IT infrastructure. Not to mention that Vietnam ranks the top 3 global-wide in terms of crypto adoption, just after India and Nigeria, according to a recent report by Chainalysis. So in order to activate the local developers, we have been leveraging a global resource to drive developer interest, and in the meantime, tapping into the existing builder pool for developer onboarding. There are around 300 developers from Vietnam participating in our global and regional bootcamps, and naturally make Vietnam the top priority market for our developer efforts. Moving forward, working with our local partners, we'll be creating a localized curriculum in Vietnamese, targeting a broader range of developers from Web3 university students and even Web2 professionals, especially those with Python coding experience. 8-week Vietnamese bootcamp will be soon launched this week, and we are planning for original hackathon in Q3. Speaking of the startup ecosystem, we'd like to welcome all multiple chain Web3 startups who are looking for chain expansion to join us, especially from key verticals like DeFi, NFT, gaming, etc. We plan to build incentive programs to boost funding and growth opportunities to local projects, and we'll support our ecosystem projects with localized marketing efforts. I like to further highlight a few events with developer focus in the region. So in March, we attended East Vietnam and hosted our first offline meetup in Hanoi. We got connected with a good number of crypto enthusiasts, developers, and early startups, from where we've established a great network for further activations. In the meantime, our Vietnam developer champion, Henry, had organized a local bootcamp in partnership with Lạc Hồng University for the past 2 months. The bootcamp was successfully completed with 81 students going through the whole courses, and 7 shortlist projects soon to be presented at a demo day in Lạc Hồng University on June 15th. So for the past 2 months, our amazing DevRel Chris Kim has been organizing a series of developer workshops in Korea in collaboration with local universities, student clubs, and renowned Web3 companies. Over 100 developers have found their way into Algorand through the educational bootcamp and also the fun coding experience he provided. So some of the developers even took a further step and registered for the global hackathon. So for the second half this year, I'd like to call for your attention to our upcoming events in the region. You will be able to find Algorand events alongside the major conferences, such as CoinFest Asia in Bali, Indonesia this August, and Token 249 Singapore in September, and also DevCon in Bangkok, Thailand this November. We will be announcing the details closer to date on Algorand socials. Please feel free to reach out if you will be in the region for events or you want to discuss potential cooperation. So as mentioned, we'll be launching an 8-week regional Vietnamese bootcamp from June 13th, followed by a regional hackathon in September. The main objective of this Vietnamese bootcamp is to encourage more local developers to utilize Python for building on Algorand. This bootcamp offers a complete end-to-end learning experience, guiding. Oh, who is switching the slide? Let's keep it in this slide. This bootcamp offers a very, comprehensive learning experience, and we'll be providing a guidance to participants from beginners to build their first decentralized applications on Algorand, and we'll be covering a wide range of basic to advanced topics. We will be implementing a learn-to-earn program with a budget of $2,000 as rewards to incentive participation and also the completion of the entire program. Consequently, the participants will not only gain access to a comprehensive course on building with Algorand, but also receive monetary incentives for their efforts. To enrich the learning journey, our team has assembled a dedicated group of mentors and supporters who will be providing assistance to learners throughout the entire 8-week curriculum. All in all, our regional bootcamp and hackathons will serve as a localized prelude to the Algorand's second global hackathon, which is scheduled for later this year. And we will be announcing the participation details on our socials. Make sure you follow Algorand Vietnam on X, and you will be able to get the first-hand information of the bootcamp once we announce it. That marks the end of my session. I will pass the mic over to Brian, our head of developer relations, to share more hot takes on DevRel. Brian, over to you.
Thanks very much. I'm really excited to be here. I don't know if the camera's gonna work, unfortunately, but I can certainly talk through what's going on in the DevRel space. So last month, I jumped ship from my TradFi career to join the foundation, but I come in from the community, and I've been building on Algorand for over 3 years now. My original account age is 1,153 days, and some folks may know me as Silent Rhetoric, having built things like the XGov Guru and other open source software. So I jumped at the opportunity to come into the foundation and lead the developer relations team. So in addition to my joining the team, though, I want to introduce other members of the team because there are some new and different faces. So Chris Kim, Everett Diaz, Giorgio Chotti have been in the team leading events around the world for years now. Chris just celebrated his 3-year anniversary of originally joining the foundation, and Everett 2 years. But we also have a couple of new members, Marco and Asta. So the 6 of us are the DevRel team right now, doing all sorts of things from working on leading boot camps and other educational experiences to sort of concierge service for key partners that are building on Algorand, as well as things like the dev portal. I'll get to that in a moment. So a shameless pitch for the boot camps. We have 5 more coming up this summer through the end of July. And following that, we'll be designing some new educational experiences later this year to help people get their apps ready and not just learn kind of the primitives of Algorand, but how to make a complete working application. And I mentioned that dev portal because the technology of Algorand has been evolving really, really quickly, whether it be AlgoKit or the core protocol, other libraries. So we recognize that the current developer documentation in the portal is getting a little long in the tooth. So we have broken ground on a whole new portal to be the foundation of technical content, both how to get started guides, but also reference information so that people can read the docs. And we can also do things like have an AI bot be trained on those reference documents. So that will give us a lot of leverage going forward. I also want to mention that we're going to be partnering across the Algorand Foundation with other teams to drive more digital engagement. We have forums like Discord and the actual Algorand forum where a lot of interesting and technical conversations happen, and we want to foster more of that. I also want to talk about AlgoKit. So AlgoKit is coming up on its kind of 3rd iteration, and the tooling continues to get more and more advanced. We are abstracting away all sorts of complexity that people used to have to deal with manually when getting set up to build a project and ultimately make the technology work. So smoothing the rough edges on that and making it even faster to get up to speed, something the engineering and product team are working on really closely with us, and our experience teaching people around the world has given us great feedback about what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, where are the friction points, and we're going to make it buttery smooth in future enhancements. And lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about teaching Algorand, because we are in one era of Algorand technology right now. We want to get really, really good at teaching people that, because there's a whole nother generation of technology coming around Algorand. Things like HD wallets, things like smart contract account abstraction, decentralized identities, authentication stuff, more advanced cryptography. So as what Algorand can do and what the ecosystem builds with gets more complicated, we're going to have to teach those advanced topics. So we want to get really, really good at getting people up the initial learning curve of how to use Algorand for basic stuff, because then in the coming months and years, we're going to be able to do even cooler stuff. So that's my story. I will hand it over to Dan Un, our head of DeFi.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Okay, so this is the Algorand DeFi section. Okay, I have a couple of updates. All right, so on the DeFi side, since Q1, we have been focusing on economic transactions. And these are transactions used for borrow and lend, RWA, auto-compounding, collateralization, and farming. So to that end, I think a lot of users might have seen the on-chain transactions and TPS growth on that front, actually. And that's where I'll tie in together with narratives, which is near the end of this slide. Yeah. On the second point is actually incentivize consensus readiness. We are kind of like looking towards moving what we call liquid governance towards like liquid staking derivatives and liquid staking token solutions, which will essentially be ready for Algorand users on day one when incentivized consensus go live. So that's, I think, really, really important for our community. All right. And the third part is narratives, and more narratives. So as part of the economic transactions narrative, we have two arcs that we are building towards right now. The first part is the real world assets arc. And I think a lot of people might have seen that Algorand's getting a lot of pickup on the real world assets frontier. And the second arc, which is the TPS arc, which is transactions per second arc, that's also very helpful for Algorand's growth. So on the RWA arc, we're looking towards Lofty, Vesta, and a lot of real world assets applications. And on the TPS arc, we're looking towards like Tinyman, NoPac, C3, Folks Finance, and these two arcs, when they are combined, form our economic transactions narrative that we are building towards. And another portion that we want to grow is to support more community-focused collaboration. And later, Kevin's going to share a little bit more, but Token Wars is a good example. So we're not just limited only to Token Wars, but we want to do a lot more with our community to push the initiatives forward. And to one end, which is to bring more cross-chain DeFi users into Algorand. Yeah. So another slide. Okay, so quick updates on the targeted DeFi rewards portion. For Q3 of this year, we have 3 fresh proposals coming in, which is Cometa, Comex, and C3. We also saw continuous participation in our DeFi applications, and we have extended a fresh invite to Vesta to join us in essentially proposing to the community and for the community to vote on it. Okay. We also moved our allocation methodology. So from Q2 effective, which is the start of this quarter, this TDR quarter, we have been looking towards prioritizing active users and earn fees of the DeFi applications. And the methodology has been switched from 100% TVL towards 60% TVL, 20% earn fees from the projects themselves, and 20% of active users, meaning that if a project has very few active users or doesn't earn that much fees providing their service on Algorand, they would get a much lesser allocation in those percentages, evening out growth and helping Algorand push towards our economic transactions narratives, essentially. Yeah. And last but not least, we are always looking to improve the process. We're always reviewing on-chain data to help to improve the program, and we're always listening to the community to kind of like build towards a much stronger process towards how we can actually distribute the targeted DeFi rewards. And that's all for my portion. I will hand over to Simon, who will help us cover analytics.
Thank you very much, Dan. Great to be here. So what I'm going to cover some of the most important KPIs of blockchains. So the first one is TVL. Now on Algorand, our target is to have at least 1 billion algos TVL. And as you can see, we're keeping that target plus minus a little percentage, which is very, very good. I mean, 1 billion algos is not a joke. And as an analysis, we want to see how we're placing with other chains. And to do that, we calculate the TVL as a percentage of circulating supply. And we're comparing ourselves with some of other chains to see how we stand. So as you can see, let's look at Solana and Near. Algorand has got 12.38% percentage TVL of our circulation supply, while Solana has got just 15%, which is not much more than us, and Near is less, Cardano is much less, etc. So this is a very good metric, and Algorand is doing great. Our TVL, how is it made up? As you can see here, we have a nice breakdown of the protocols which contribute in different categories to our TVL. And as Dan just explained, to the different incentives and rewards, we are pushing these protocols to increase TVL. NFTs, how is NFTs doing? In the first 5 months and the week, we had 5.5 million algo sales volume, which is great. But what's really impressive is monthly average, we're having about 55,000 assets created. And on a monthly average, we have 1,000 unique creator addresses. And these are really, really great numbers. And here, up to now, we're still not included FIFA Marketplace data source, which we're going to include in the very near future. On-chain transactions, as you can see, Algorand is doing extremely well. We're averaging about 118 million transactions a month in 2024. And we have reached from Genesis block, and today is our 5th anniversary, we have reached 1.94 billion transactions. Okay, let's see what are the assets and protocols generating these transactions. From the assets arena, we have World Chess, Planet Watch, Fry, USDC, TravelX, Aura, the Hasap Afghani project, and Fractal Monsters, which are generating the top asset transactions. Application calls or smart contract calls, we have Aura, which is generating quite a lot. C3 is catching up nicely, and again, TravelX, and then we have the DeFi guys. Tiny Man, Fox Finance, even C3 here, Pact, Wormhole, etc. Very good numbers going forward for this year. Now, let's see how we compare a bit with some of our friends in the blockchain space. As you can see, in February, Algorand had an all-time high of transactions of 180 million transactions, and we're keeping our transactions constant, which is very, very good. We're very consistent in that 100 million average, 180 million average a month. Now, sometimes you see on Twitter other chains posting how much transactions they did in a particular month, which was a spike, etc. A couple of examples are listed here. Having a spike for 1 month is good, but Algorand is being consistent and having that average throughout every month. And June's looking very, very nice as well. Interesting chart here. Here, we're analyzing, for me, the most important metric, which is the monthly active users versus new accounts and versus transactions. As you can see, the blue line on top is our monthly average for the monthly active users. And we have 800,000 unique monthly active users. That's a massive number. These are defined as wallets which did at least 1 transactions a month minimum. And we're generating about 300,000 monthly average new accounts as well. And we reached nearly 36 million accounts from inception. Real world asset TVL, we have Lofty, which is doing extremely well, Meld Gold, and lately we have also Vest Equity. Now here, guys, to iterate what some of my colleagues were saying, it's important that we push our dApps to be listed on DeFi Llama and other reporting platforms. Here I'm going to cover very briefly what happens in our social media. As you can see, throughout all our accounts and platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, we're increasing very, very nicely, especially YouTube. In January, we had 33,000 subscribers, and we are now, till mid-May, 67,000, which is awesome. Python downloads, these are true downloads without counting doubles, etc. We reached the 2.5K unique downloads, which is very, very good, as you can see, and we launched in last week of March. Last slide. As you know, as Mark mentioned, we have launched the Fix the Data project, and we had 18 submissions in the first week, all very interesting submissions, and I really thank you for that. Some of you also submitted your public repos to Electric Capital, which is how the dev count is reported in the blockchain space. For these, we are awaiting updates from Electric Capital to see our new numbers. And to check metrics, as you all know, yesterday, Metrics Alonefo launched a new portal where you can see transactions and TPS and other metrics live in a very nice and intuitive way. That's all I had. Now I pass it on to the great Adri for her governance update.
Thanks, Simon. Foundation. I'm coming to you from Pavia in Italy today. And oops, I just had a bandwidth alert, so I will turn my camera off now, but hopefully you can still hear me okay without. In governance period 11 voting session is ending in about 4 days. We still have half of the stake left to vote. So as of now, all DeFi rewards measures are passing, but the NFT measures have fallen behind a bit of the 50% plus one that's needed. But with half of the stake still to vote, there's still a chance of those measures passing. It's not a game over yet. So if you haven't voted, please do so. We urge you to read through the proposals and make sure you support the ones you like. And we will run GP12 in Q3 as usual with a rewards allocation of 22.5 million algo. As we announced earlier in the year, when the consensus upgrade drops, we will be rewarding node operators for producing blocks. So we'll stop rewarding governors to vote, and we'll start rewarding node operators for the blocks they produced. And this is, a move to ensure that we have a lot of nodes. They are decentralized, and we have them all helping secure our network. John Woods has spoken extensively about this. And we want to ensure that we have no gaps between switching from governance rewards to consensus rewards. So as we continue down this path of decentralized decision-making, it's important that we discuss how governance will evolve, and we continue to adjust as the broader needs of the community change. In the XGov front, we had a voting session 4 concluded on the 3rd of June. In that voting session, 95% of the stake voted, and they approved 1.7 million algos to 20 proposals out of the 22 originally submitted. Of those, 11 proposals were proactive and 9 were retroactive. We will be hosting a retrospective to talk in depth about the results of voting session tomorrow. That will include presentations, or let's say 3-minute pitches from some of the approved proposers. And on the screen, you have a bit.ly link, so you can go to Twitter and set the reminder for that. That will be recorded. If you can attend in person, you can join us later. We have been following the many discussions on the social channels, and there's a lot of community feedback around the XGov alpha pilot. And as we turn that off, we will now stop, take stock, and make sure that a lot of those concerns and feedback are addressed by the design of the platform that will be launching later this year. So for now, the grants are paused. We'll have this discussion tomorrow for the retro. We'll have another discussion next week on the start of the Decipher week as a preparation for the sessions that we will host at Decipher, because we want to take the opportunity to involve those of you who cannot be in Decipher in person and collect some feedback to some more specific questions. And then we take all of that to our 2 sessions at Decipher. As Christine mentioned, we have a governance room. If you're going to be there in person, we urge that you stop by and come and meet Michele and I and take part in the sessions. And we hope to see you there. Back to you, Autumn.
Thanks, Audrey. Great to hear the updates on governance. Exciting to see what may come. And let me forward along here. So I'm excited to welcome Kevin from Messina, is invited here for our project spotlight for today. Kevin, you want to join us on stage?
Yeah, I should be there. Can you hear me, Autumn?
Yes, excellent. There you are.
Super, super. Thank you so much. I think I can control this slide thing, right? Awesome. Look at that. Hey, everybody. This is Kevin here from Messina. And thank you so much, Autumn, and also Dan, for the invitation and the opportunity to talk a little bit, very briefly, about Messina and invite me here on the project spotlight for this June assembly call. It's been very informative so far. So yeah, I hope I can contribute to that a little bit. So let me get started right away with a little bit of a history for the people who are not familiar with Messina, and a little bit of trivia. Because when Messina was developed by the founders, Undercurrent Technologies, they were working on, how do you call, what kind of name do you give to an interoperability protocol and a bridge? Like, what kind of clever name can you come up with? And what we actually did is, there is an island in the south of Italy called Sicilia, and there's a town there that's called Messina, and the bit of sea that's in between the island and the mainland of Italy is the street of Messina. And now, if I'm informed correctly, then there's not actually a bridge across this piece of water. And there's been talks about building of a bridge for some time, but it has never actually been done. So here we are in our interoperability protocol. And we've actually built that bridge. Now, not necessarily between the island and the mainland of Italy, but we thought that'd be a clever name for a bridge in a Web3 ecosystem. So that's a little bit of trivia and the origins of the name of Messina. Now, what is Messina actually, for those that don't know or not familiar? So Messina is an interoperability protocol and liquid staking solution. Right. So when the protocol first went live, it was connecting Algorand to Ethereum, shortly followed by BNB Chain and Polygon, and one of the main assets that you can bridge into Algorand with Messina is, for example, USDC. And one of the big use cases that many people are actually using, but many more may not even be aware of if you're in the United States and you need to get your assets off chain and towards, for example, Coinbase. I'm told, I'm not in the US myself, I'm in Europe, Hungary, so I don't actually use this. Oh, we're moving. What's happening? I don't necessarily use this, but if you go from Algorand with your USDC to Base and then to Coinbase, apparently that's one of the fastest and most cost-efficient ways to get your assets on and off chain. So, that's one of the main use cases. But since then, we've added Avalanche, Base, Optimism, Arbitrum, and I have a little alpha at the end about another chain that we are adding. Basically, Dan, and the other thing, of course, is the Algorand liquid staking currently going on. We introduced it in September last year, MAlgo. The great thing about MAlgo is that it's an interest-bearing token, so you can hold it and own it, and you don't need to opt in and out of governance and staking, because it will automatically increase in value with each passing rewards distribution, right? So you can just hold the asset and use it on DeFi if you want, and with each passing rewards distribution, it increases in underlying value towards the staked asset, which is Algo. Now, of course, we are going through a transition when it comes to liquid staking, and it's also the intention to be part of that with Messina and keep MAlgo relevant. Now, a little bit about what Adriana and Dan already spoken about as well. So at Messina, we're obviously an interoperability protocol, and we believe in fostering cross-chain solutions and growing cross-chain communities, because in Web3, to grow adoption, we think that we all need to kind of work together and introduce great communities to one another, so we can learn from each other and kind of like grow the pie together. And as we've been going through the motions with Messina, we came up with this idea of token wars. And some people have maybe seen it on our social media, especially on X, that we had been experimenting and testing engagement and activity a little bit with token tournaments. And from these token tournaments, we have kind of like created token wars. So what it is an attempt to foster community and build cross-chain interest for the Algorand DeFi ecosystem in space, where we are going to be bridging 4 tokens from Algorand to Avalanche, building pools and trading pairs on Trader Joe, who are a partner to this program as well. Then bring the LP tokens back to Algorand and rewarding the LP token staking on Pact, so that actually the value and the TVL is actually brought back to Algorand again. That's one thing we're doing, and we're also introducing entirely new tokens to Algorand that we are still discussing with and bringing their communities with them and introducing them to all the strong attributes that Algorand has as its underlying chain. And then last but not least, we have in this program also a partnership with Melt Gold, who will be supplying a number of awesome rewards that are going to be backed by actual digital gold. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. So yeah, that's Token Wars, and it's actually part of the Messina Governance Program 11 DeFi rewards proposal, which is currently up for vote. So I emphasize again to definitely go and check out the vote and make sure that you vote yes on Messina. Now, what we've got next going on, I already hinted at it, that we're introducing a new chain. So we are adding an endpoint for Solana sometime in the next 2 to 3 months. That should be finished. So we will be connecting Algorand to Solana, which I think will be very interesting for many projects to try and get access to one of the largest DeFi and community ecosystems in the Web3 space. And we are also preparing for a Messina native protocol token. So that's something to look forward to a little bit as well. Then, last but not least, I already mentioned it. Make sure to go check out the governance voting. Vote yes on Messina. I hope that we can execute on all our plans and all our proposals. And if you're looking for us, we're mostly active on X, on Messina1. So at Messina1, you can find us. Stay tuned for more updates on Token Wars, roadmap, news, and all that kind of stuff. And thank you again so much, Autumn and Dan, for the invitation. And I'll hand it back over to you, Autumn.
Thanks, Kevin. Great updates. It's wonderful to have you here. And so, gang, I think everyone is hopefully aware that today's a special day for the Algorand ecosystem. Today, we are celebrating 5 years of Block 0 on the Algorand network. And as a celebration of this commemorative moment, we decided to tap one of our beloved NFT creators in the Algorand community, who I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Node Keepers created this, I think, just beautiful piece for us to celebrate. We have minted 300 NFTs on Go Plausible that are available at using this QR code. And what's really cool, if you zoom in on the screens, on the sort of head piece of the image, it says 5 years in many, many languages. We tried to cover most of the key languages that are represented in our community and in our regional social channels. So anyway, thank you to Node Keepers. Very excited to have this piece, and we will be sharing this out on socials. So just remember, there are 300. After that, they are gone, and again, we'll share out on socials for anyone that wasn't able to join us here today on the assembly, but very excited to have worked with Node Keepers. Thank you. And yeah, looking forward to hearing comments on this. Let's see. So wanted to share a quick shout out before we wrap up, everyone. I have a quick shout out from Joanna Morin regarding the Change the Game hackathon. So for all the participants out there, please remember you have 24 hours left to submit your projects. The submission deadline, let's see, is 11:45 p.m. SGT, so that's Singapore time, tomorrow. So please make sure that your project is submitted. And as just a quick reminder to everyone, we have 3 tracks this session: DeFi, consumer, and interoperability. There is, it looks like about 16,000 USDCA on the line, including, additionally, there will be bonus prizes for the best AI project and the best female-led team. So we are just so excited to see what everyone comes up with. And if we have a couple questions, we can maybe take a minute or so, but I know we're right at time, 7:30. So just wanted to thank everyone so much for joining us today. As a reminder, if you registered for this assembly, you will receive a link to the recording, and then we will also be adding the recording to our YouTube channel, so you can find it there as well. I know there was a lot of interest in the analytics section, the ecosystem by the numbers from Simon, so those will be available in 2 different places. Let's see, before we jump off, I'm just gonna scan to see if we had any questions. Can someone share the link to the NFT? Yes, we will share the magic link and the QR code out on socials as soon as we hop off this call. Here, let me just back it up. Okay. There you go, Martin.